The Hunter Biden trial came and went pretty fast. If you weren't paying attention, you missed it. Today was already the closing arguments. Now, I don't think that there is literally any scenario where Hunter Biden is not guilty. Now, notice I didn't say found guilty. I read an article today that said Joe Biden is basically, like a robot vacuum, like kind of shuffling around the White House because he's so afraid that Hunter's going to get convicted. I mean, here's what I think will probably happen. They will find him guilty, but he will serve no jail time. Right? We talked about this on other streams. Very few people get jail time their first offense in this particular case, with this particular charge. Now, if it were Trump, they would put him in prison if they could. So Hunter Biden's defense team says he will not take the stand in his trial. I mean, obviously, he's a terrible witness. Jury deliberations are now already underway. So we could very well have a verdict tomorrow, sometime tomorrow morning. What will happen is he'll get fines. He'll get a fine, maybe some probation, and that'll be it. That'll be it. So you can look, Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley reacts to the closing arguments in the First Sons federal trial. Turley argued that the defense's most effective argument against convicting Hunter is actually where a case is taking place and jury nullification. This is a Biden town. I think if you look at the defense, this is just as clear as you can get a jury nullification case, Turley said. Turley added that the arguments that the defense put up collapsed within the first 48 hours of the trial, adding the prosecution. But Turley also noted that there was support Biden during the trial, which will make an impression to the jury. You have a sizable Biden contingent in that courtroom, reminding jurors that this is a Biden town, that this is their hometown. And I think that prosecutors are worried that no matter how strong their case, they might not be able to overcome that. So I think the implication here is that they're not going to want to convict. That they're not going to want to convict him because, it's a Biden town. Now, Monday, as of 1 hour ago, the jury was dismissed after deliberations with no verdict reached. I think they probably only had like an hour or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't very much time. By the time they get all the jury instructions and all that kind of stuff, it's so wild that we basically have Trump and Biden trials going on at the same time. Now, the judge dismissed the jury Monday afternoon after they were sent to deliberate the case against Hunter following closing arguments. No verdict has been reached yet. The deliberation set to resume Tuesday at 8:15. Now, I suspect, we'll get a verdict tomorrow. I suspect we will. I don't think there's a heck of a lot to discuss in this case. I think Trump's trial was far more complicated, and the deliberations, I think, were still only a day and a half, if I remember correctly. It was 2 days tops, if I remember. Now, of course, the prosecution ended their argument with, prosecutor Derek Hines followed after their closing arguments, which lasted 90 minutes, with a final closing rebuttal, saying that you don't have his life in your hands. Was he an addict? Did he know he was an addict when he filled out the form? Hines questioned, adding that those questions were all that the jury had to decide. And I think that it's pretty obvious, it's pretty obvious that he was an addict at the time, and he chose not to disclose that when he got his weapon. Now, is there anything on the laptop that now gets, brought into kind of the public space? I don't know. There were some pretty spicy text messages that came out that seemed new, but there just wasn't there didn't seem like there was some massive amount of, new information. Not that I saw. If you looked at Hunter lost power of self-control, prosecutors say during closing arguments. I thought I had something about these text messages, which were pretty spicy. I think I had something over here. Yes, here they are. This is like troubling text messages Hunter sent to dealer shown by prosecutors is potentially a big blow to the defense as a trial winds down. Here is basically, the long and short of it is that they know that he's an addict. There's no denying that. And that's really all the jury has to decide here, right? All the jury has to decide is whether or not he was an addict at the time and that he filled out the paperwork at the time, which to me is absolutely, positively, beyond a doubt. But it is a Biden town. Part of me, you tell me if this is crazy. You let me know in the comments if this is crazy. Part of me hopes he gets acquitted. I think Hunter getting acquitted is better for Trump than Hunter being found guilty. That's my opinion. And by the way, Hunter, I think it's easy to not care about him. But the other aspect about him is that, I still don't believe he got those jobs, in a legal way. I don't believe that he got that job for Burisma through just being a regular old guy. I don't believe we've seen him get his special treatment to get into the military, all this kind of stuff. So I don't care about Hunter the addict. I care about the guy that, the 10% for the big guy. I care about whatever special favors, not only the ones that he got, but which ones has he promised to foreign governments, if any. Right? I don't think, I don't think he's, particularly, look, I don't really judge people for being addicts. It happens. You become an addict, I don't think that kind of thing cares about who you are, how much money you have, or what your last name is. But I do care if while he was an addict, he, gave away secrets, or he negotiated deals on that, So on the evening of October 11th, Hunter, now 54, told a contact to meet me at 7-Eleven at 3. President Biden's son had spent part of the previous 2 days trying to arrange a rendezvous with that person, who was saved in the contact simply as Q. Can you meet me at 7-Eleven now? The younger Biden asked in the afternoon of October 10th, only to be told that Q, who also called himself Junior, couldn't make it right away. It's unclear if the two ever met. Hunter stopped at the StarQuest supply store on October 12th in 2018. The message of Q were the focal point of the brief rebuttal appearance by the FBI agent, who was recalled to the stand by prosecutors before closing arguments to counter defense claims that Hunter was not using drugs at the time he bought the Colt Cobra. Now, many people may point out that, yes, background checks are simply for the pores, and that may be very true. Background checks are, first of all, unconstitutional, in my opinion. However, I think that the implications of this lawsuit seem far vaster than the actual outcome of it, if that makes sense. If Hunter, I want Hunter to be found not guilty. That's what I want, because I think him being found guilty doesn't change anything. He's not going to prison, right? He'll get a fine even if he is found guilty. I think if he's found not guilty, that's more reason to point at Biden corruption. Is that me? I guess I have told everyone that I am now a card-carrying member of the low road. I absolutely want the low road, So I think from a low road perspective, right, which is where I'm going to live now until after the election, I think Hunter Biden beating these charges works better for Trump. Am I being too fourth-dimensional chess? I don't know. But I think that the president's son, who's already a sympathetic figure to many people on the left, being convicted of a charge about lying on this or that. I don't think people care about that, but I think people would care way more if they thought he got away with it. If they thought he got away with something, I think that would be a bigger story. Defense attorney Abby Lowell noted that the messages from before the purchase had no location data confirming the first son's whereabouts. I don't know. Was he going to meet Q or getting a cup of coffee? He asked Jensen at one point. I don't know, said Jensen, who analyzed the evidence from the son's notorious laptop. I have no further context. I don't think that anyone really thinks he wasn't a drug addict. So to me, he withdrew $800 from his Wells Fargo account on the evening of October 11th so he can go buy some more Parmesan cheese. It'll be interesting. I want him to be found not guilty. That's my opinion. But it'll be interesting to see, how that actually shakes out. What do you all think?